What's up, all my Ewoks? It's Anna, also known as that Star Wars girl, and today I'm going to be doing my January Q&A video. So without further ado, let's just jump right into all of the questions that you guys asked me. Question number 1. Do you think The Rise of Skywalker was the best we could have gotten after The Last Jedi? The easy answer to that is hells to the fuck no. No, that was a dumpster fire shit show, just like I had been saying for months. And, I mean, you can even look at the things that JJ was saying about how, and all the controversy around it, about how JJ originally wanted 2 movies, and then he approved this one cut, and then basically Disney just shot all of his ideas down and then changed everything, and then they added in things without JJ's approval. And apparently there's a rumor that he was in a meeting and he basically just said, you should just put written and directed by Lucasfilm, like don't even bother putting my name on it. And you all know I'm not a fan of JJ Abrams, but you know, I can understand his frustration, and I don't blame him completely for what we got with The Rise of Skywalker, but at the same time, it's his fault we're in this situation because he started off with this. He created these characters. He started right off the bat that Luke abandoned everyone, that Leia and Han were failures as parents. So when you start off with crap, it's pretty hard to end on a high note. But as far as the best scenario that we could have gotten after The Last Jedi, hell no. Not in a million years is that the best version that we could have gotten after that movie. There's plenty of people out there that have written, and you can go look online. There's so many people, and I feel like every person that I met at Star Wars Celebration was like, let me tell you how, like, what I think of how we could have fixed The Last Jedi. And it's like, when, you know, thousands of people are coming up with better ways, and like ways to fix your mess, that's a huge problem. And the fact that they weren't even able to do it in this last movie says a lot about, you know, how incompetent they are. Question number 2. If they made The Rise of Skywalker 2 movies instead, do you think the trilogy would have been better? Honestly, not necessarily. And there's factors that go into this. So obviously JJ wasn't given enough time. And to be completely honest, in my biased opinion, because you guys know I don't like JJ, I don't think he was the person that could have fixed this. You need somebody that is, you know, vastly more knowledgeable on the source material that they're working on and actually knows how to tell a cohesive story from beginning to end. JJ is one of those guys, he's like, I'll get the party started, but he doesn't know how to shut something down in a good way. So I don't think there's enough time in the world that JJ would be able to do this, even in 2 movies. If you got somebody that was competent at writing, at telling stories, you know, from beginning to end, they could have done this. Give them a bit more time to write it out, to plan it, to, you know, brainstorm everything. So, you know, if they would have just postponed filming for maybe a year, if not 2, and gotten, you know, a different group to do this, and Disney didn't meddle in it, it could have been better. I don't think it could have fixed everything, but it definitely could have been better. And I don't think that necessarily the answer was to do it into 2 movies, because you could have done something with just 1 movie. Just make it a little bit longer, get a different team to come in and give them more time. And I think we would have gotten something tremendously better than what we did. But there's just so much controversy going around about what happened with The Rise of Skywalker. And honestly, once people's contracts expire, we're going to learn more. We've already seen, you know, John Boyega kind of being open up. Mark Hamill just recently said, you know, how he, out of all the actors, all the great new cast, he only got to work with 2 of them. So I think as time goes on, we are going to slowly learn more and more about the dumpster fire shit show that was The Rise of Skywalker, and that is Disney Lucasfilm. Question number 3. Did Rey ruin the Star Wars universe? Well, I don't think she's completely to blame for why it's ruined in the Disney Star Wars universe, but she's definitely not helping. When you have a Mary Sue type character, it's going to be a very big problem, and you know, you're kind of going to have to carry the team because of that thorn in your side, which is a Mary Sue. And we've seen this throughout time with movies like Star Wars, like the new Star Wars trilogy, like in novels, like in TV shows. When you have a Mary Sue, that's a very big crutch. And, you know, the only time when you have a character that is, you know, going to be naturally gifted at everything, they're just perfect in every single way, shape, or form, you have to, it's like a yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. So when I think of a character like that that's just naturally perfect at everything, the perfect example I think of is Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Q is an omnipotent being, and you know, he has all the powers of the universe. Anything he wants, desires, he can do. He can transform himself into anything. He can create things out of thin air. He can fix all the problems, but guess what? His flaw, his, you know, the yin to his yang is his personality. Because he's omnipotent, he is a very narcissistic, you know, just he just likes to fuck with people, you know, and if he gives you a gift, there's always a consequence to it, and you can see that throughout nature. And I think that's why people, you know, understand it. That's why when you see a Mary Sue type character, it's unnatural. People don't like that because, and like I said, you can look at nature. It's like, okay, the planet that we live on, planet Earth, it's 80% water. Okay, that's great. Water, right? We need water to drink. We need water to survive. Animals need it. Plants need it. That's great that our planet is 80% water, right? But guess what? That 80% of water is undrinkable. Yes, you know, it's great for all the animals that live in the ocean, but for everyone that lives on land, it's a pretty big, you know, problem for us. You know, we have to build boats and planes to cross the ocean. So even though it's like, okay, yeah, it's great for the animals that live in the ocean, but there's that obstacle for us to overcome. It's not perfect. Nothing in the world or in the universe is going to be perfect. And when you have that one thing that is perfect, it's like, okay, what's wrong with you then? Because nothing is ever perfect, and if it is, they're lying to you. So as far as Rey ruining the universe, she presents a very big problem to the universe. I don't necessarily have, you know, any like for her character because it's unnatural. And I mean, there's a lot of problems. I honestly think as far as the biggest problem that, you know, ruined the Disney Star Wars universe is the writing, is the people in charge that were more interested in, you know, pushing agendas and politics as compared to actually telling stories, actually spending time to do the research and to understand, hey, you know, having a Mary Sue as the head of our franchise is going to, you know, be a very big, you know, downfall for us because nobody is able to relate to something that's perfect because no one in the world is perfect. No one. Question number 4, thoughts/opinions on The Mandalorian. So I know I'm in the minority on this, but I am not a big fan of The Mandalorian. Now, I did like aspects of The Mandalorian. I think the costumes are cool. Baby Yoda, of course, is so cute, and I love him so much, and I cannot wait to get all the merch for it, which, you know, they failed at getting merch out on time, and they used the excuse of, oh, well, we didn't want the secret to get out. It's like, if you really wanted to keep a secret, you could and still have merch on time. And, you know, I honestly believe the whole idea of that Kathleen Kennedy sabotaged, you know, the merchandise for this because she didn't want it to take away from the limelight of The Rise of Skywalker and didn't want anything to be taken away from Rey, which nobody cares about. But as far as The Mandalorian, and I know a lot of people were excited because it's like, oh, it's Jon Favreau, it's Dave Filoni, you know, they're actually Star Wars fans. They care about this stuff. And even when I was at Star Wars Celebration and I was at the Mandalorian panel, you can feel the energy that everyone there that was working on it, they were excited to do it. They loved this. This is their passion. The thing about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, though, is they are the best people to have in a room when you're brainstorming. When you're all sitting there, you're doing the powwow, they're like, yes, let's do this, this, and this, and this. They're great at that, because, you know, they love it and they have so much knowledge on it. But as far as executing that and making it a reality, it kind of falls flat. And that's why I think it's like they should be, you know, in charge of creative and then have someone else do it for them, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people love Dave Filoni because of the Clone Wars. But when I go back and I look at the Clone Wars, my favorite episodes aren't written by Dave Filoni. And you know, that's one thing that I can't recommend enough about the Clone Wars is the writing is so good and it gets better as you watch it. But the ones that are the best, in my opinion, aren't written by Dave Filoni. No, they're written by Katie Lucas, George Lucas's daughter. You know, I've said this before. My favorite character, you know, my favorite Clone Wars clone character, it's a lot of C's in that, is Fives. And my favorite episodes, it's 2 episodes, it's a 2-part episode. My favorite one is the one where Fives discovers that this whole conspiracy about how the clones, when all of the clones turned on the Jedi in Order 66, it's because they had a little chip implanted in them when they were grown, and Fives discovers that chip, and he has to go, you know, he's on a mission to go tell this conspiracy theory to the Jedi, and he's got to do that without getting caught, and, you know, the Sith, the bad guys, they're on to him, Palpatine's little minions, so he's got to, you know, be stealthy and evade them, and then try to go and let the Jedi know about this, and, you know, about the Sith's infiltration. It's a very good episode. It gets you in the feels, and it's something that I'll never forget. And I remember watching it like, this is a kid's show? The writing is fantastic, and it was written by Katie Lucas. So I think if we have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, yeah, you know, they can come up with ideas like, let's do this, let's plan this out, you know, this is our overarching thing that we need to happen. There's a lot of problems within it, you know, and there's a lot of plot holes within it. Like, you have this character that's supposed to be the representation. He's going out for all the Mandalorians. Why are all the Mandalorians do it the whole mask thing? That doesn't make sense. People have used the argument of, oh, well, maybe they're just a radical version of the Mandalorians. I'm like, but you look throughout time, that's never been a thing where the Mandalorians can't take off their helmet. Their armor is sacred, but the whole helmet thing, that doesn't make sense. Why are they hiding in a basement? Why don't they have another planet where they could just go and like repopulate, have a lot more Mandalorian kids, pass it on because they know that their culture is dying? That seems like a logical explanation to their problem, but they're not doing it. The Mandalorian, he makes decisions that don't make sense. Why is he the representation? Why, for the Mandalorian culture, he's going out and, you know, representing them as the Mandalorian, and he doesn't know shit about Mandalorian culture? Why wouldn't he have a shield on his spaceship? And you know, that's my question. Every single episode I was like, why? And it's like, why doesn't he's supposed to be, you know, this expert at weapons, expert strategist. He's the one that survived this long. Why would he forget that the guns on his ship could blast through an AT-ST? These questions that get and like, the whole logic of his battle plans, it doesn't make sense. Like, this guy would have died a long time ago, but, you know, plot armor for the Mandalorian. So the writing is mediocre. And when you have the standard, the gold standard, the basis for my standards is the original Star Wars trilogy. When you fall below that, it's going to cause problems. And yes, I'm going to, you know, talk about it. So with The Mandalorian, it's the closest to the originals that we've gotten, but it still has a lot of problems, and they need to bring in better writers to fix that. So that way there aren't plot holes. So that way, you know, people like me that have, you know, that watch this, that are like, hey, you know, this is a very easy thing to fix, or this is a problem that shouldn't be a problem, and you can fix it with better writing. Bring in Katie Lucas. Question number 5. Are you planning to, or have you watched The Witcher show yet? So yes, I have watched The Witcher. I have watched it through twice now. The second time I watched it through, obviously, there was more things that I noticed the second time. I really, really, really enjoyed it the first time. The second time, because I knew what to expect, the first few episodes, there was... I feel like it started off slow, but they did that for a reason, because how the timelines converge. And so watching it through a second time, knowing what happened, I was like, okay, so that, and pinpointing things. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's, you know, without its flaws, though. And I know a lot of people were bringing up the whole casting fiasco, that they did race swaps. That, I don't have too much of a problem with it with certain characters. With other characters, I think it's a really big problem. I can't stand the character of Fringilla, or at least the actress that's portraying Fringilla. I don't think she did a very good job. To me, this is supposed to be a villain type character. She doesn't embody that. And she doesn't have that jealousy, that remorse that you would see in someone that, that hates Yennefer so much, that's like, kind of like, haha, F you, Yennefer, now I have all the powers, you upstaged me once, let me come back and let me get my vengeance on you. She didn't do that at all. She didn't do that for me. She was a very flatline actress. And and that being said, a lot of people at first, when they heard the casting for Yennefer, they're like, what, she's not, they're bringing identity politics, and they have to have their token black actress or actor. They have to have, she's got Indian heritage in her, the woman that plays Yennefer. But when I was watching, I was like, okay, compared to the video game, I see why everyone's issue is, but she's fantastic. She did a great job portraying Yennefer. And I remember watching interviews about how they went through, thousands and thousands of auditions and, different actors and not just for that, but like actresses to be Yennefer. I think they hit the nail on the head. She is a fantastic actress. So you can do that when you do a race swap, or, you get somebody with a certain ethnic background that not necessarily fit the ethnic background of that character. But if it's the best actor or actress for the job, then go for it. And I think she brought a lot to the table. That was the first and only thing I've ever seen her in. She did a really, really good job, as compared to the exact opposite, which is the actress that played for Angela. That fell flat. It didn't do it for me at all. I was sorely disappointed. But there's a lot more I can go into with The Witcher, but I will save that for my review of The Witcher. So tune in later for that. Question number 6. Would you consider doing a playthrough of Fallen Order? So I still need to finish the KOTOR 1 playthrough, and then I need to go do KOTOR 2, and then potentially I could do Jedi Fallen Order. I looked it up though, it's like $60, so maybe when I'm done with KOTOR it will go down and go on like super sale, because that's a lot for a game, especially one that I haven't heard the best reviews for. So potentially yes, but I'm not sure yet. Question number 7. What superpower would you have? Well, it's evolved a lot since I was a kid. As a kid, I always wanted to be able to fly like Superman. Not just in the atmosphere and be able to fly super fast, but also in outer space to other planets, and be able to still breathe within space and do what Superman does as far as that. It'd be really convenient for travel. Then, as I started thinking about it more, I would really love the ability to communicate with all forms of life. So, I could talk to animals, I could talk to plants, I could talk to aliens. That, I think, is something that I would really love to have. Because, who doesn't want to talk to their puppy? Who doesn't want to, be able to communicate with animals? Hey, I want to free you from the zoo. Let me, don't eat me, tiger, because I want to help you. And I would love to be able to speak to animals. And then as an adult, as a grown-up, mind reading would be pretty freaking convenient sometimes, How do I talk my way out of getting out of jury duty? How do I talk my way out of a speeding ticket? Stuff like that. It would be really convenient at times to be able to read minds as an adult within the universe, the real world that we live in. But I'm kind of already a mutant, as has been unveiled on the Jack show. I can breathe out of my eye because I had that eye surgery when I was a kid. I can blow smoke out of it. So even though I don't technically have superpowers, I do have mutant abilities. Question number 8. What did you think about the Revan reveal in KOTOR? Holy freaking crap. I was not expecting, I did not see that coming at all. And you guys know, if you watch my KOTOR playthroughs, there's a playlist on this channel if you guys want to go back and watch them, because they are unlisted. I also created a secondary channel called That Star Wars Girl Live, where I'm going to be re-uploading the KOTOR playthrough, so that way it's listed just for people that can't, or don't want to go watch it on the playlist. But anyways, from the beginning, the second they started off and they're like, oh, Revan died, you gotta go beat Malik. And I'm like, people have been talking about Revan and talking Revan up forever. I was nerding out about the action figure of Revan. I even have the Bastila action figure. And I'm just like, you're telling me he's dead? I started off the game and he's not alive? And then that bomb hit and I was like, poof. nobody spoiled it for me, so thank you. This is one of those things, it's like everyone watching already knew, and so you guys heard me bitch about it. I was like, really? Everyone's been talking up Revan, and he's dead, and I'm playing this, and they're talking about him, they're always talking about Revan, and I was like, I got gypped. Everyone told me Revan is a character you need to experience, which makes sense now. Hindsight. So, if you want to know, if you want to see my actual reaction, go watch that playthrough back, and it is in the playlist on my channel, the KOTOR playthrough playlist. So go check that out if you want to actually see my reaction. Question number 9. How did you react when you heard the news about Kobe? So that hit me really hard, and my best friend was visiting with her boyfriend, and we had to get up early because we had to pick my boyfriend up from the airport because he was coming back from a work thing. And we woke up, we got in the car to go to the airport, and then I had a text from my boyfriend saying that his flight got canceled, and so we couldn't pick him up for another few hours. So we all got out of the car, we went back inside, and then we all kind of checked our phones, and we all saw it at the same time, the news, and we had those hours to kill to go until we needed to go pick up my boyfriend, so we couldn't really do anything. And we all just kind of sat there, we were looking at the news, and it's so close to where I live too, and I was just like, oh my god, like, because you hear about him first, and then you find out about his daughter being there with him, and it's like, I was just sitting there, and I was reading articles, and tears are streaming down my face, and I'm trying hard not to cry right now, but it's so sad. It breaks my heart, and I'm like, I just lost my sister, and then I lost my cousin, and so his girls, he just had a new baby, and I know what they're going through as far as losing a sister, but then it's like, I couldn't even imagine losing my sister and my father. Like, oh my god. And then his poor wife. I broke when I saw that, and my heart, I'm just like, his poor family. And at least they didn't die alone, which I wish neither of them died, but at least they were together. At least they had each other. And the more and more I hear about it, like, I didn't want to cry, but the more and more I hear about it, the more and more it breaks my heart. It's just so sad, and it's just awful. Question number 10. What is your 2020 New Year's resolution? Well, I'm still trying to recover from the last question, because it got me really emotional. So, I grew up watching Kobe, and it's like, it makes you think, and my New Year's resolution on New Year's started off as something different, but the more and more I think about it, because last year did not end well. Last year was one of the worst years of my life, and every single day since everything that happened with my sister, I've just been, life is very short, and life is precious, and you can't just wait for things to happen. You have to go out and do it. Life is what you make it. And if you just sit back and watch life go by, you're never going to be happy. And I ended last year thinking, and I was very, very depressed, because I'm just like, everyone around me is dying. Everyone I love is dying. And what is the point? What is the point of me doing something that makes me happy? Because at the end of the day, everyone's gonna die, and I'm gonna be alone, or I'm gonna die. And it's like, I was just not happy. I was very, very depressed, and I still am. I'm still trying to get over that. But as far as 2020 goes, my resolution, again, it was different in the beginning because I was a different mindset, but now it's evolved into, I'm not gonna let life pass me by. A lot of times, I'm very seclusive. I like to be by myself. I at least not go out around people. I like to stay at my home, with my animals, with my boyfriend, and if I do go out, I stick to just, the people that I know, that I trust. But I can't just keep letting life go past me and living so much within my own little bubble. if I want to make myself happy, I need to go out and I need to do things, and I need to stop letting myself hold myself back, if that makes sense. So I have a lot of plans for things that I've been wanting to do for years that I just haven't. And one of the things that's really been inspiring me, and you guys know I do the Jack Show. I have my friends that I do streams with, and I've watched them all be so successful as far as pushing their careers and doing the work that they've been wanting to do, and saying F you to the people that shut them out from comics, and doing their own comics and doing crowdfundings, and being successful on their own. And so many people have asked me, like, Anna, when are you going to do a comic? Anna, when are you going to do something? And so I'm not going to hold back anymore. I'm going to do it. And I told everyone, I was like, I've never done a comic book before, so I don't really want to have my first test go and not be successful, or, me epically fail at, something that it's something that I don't know how to do. And so, I can draw it and I can put it together, but as far as, how to actually make a book, that's a whole nother animal. So my friend Cecil had the great idea. He's like, well, Anna, just do an art book. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's my main goal for right now, is to be able to get this book done. And so the book is going to be my journey and how I evolved as an artist. So starting out, this is how, because everyone always asks me, they're like, how long have you been drawing? I'm like, oh, I've always been drawing. I don't have a memory where I didn't draw. So the beginning of the book will be, my first memories of drawing. This is the kind of stuff that I used to create. Then how it evolved, and then it's my next step, and then my next step, and kind of my story, how life has shaped me and how it has affected my art. And it's going to be just images of my art and me walking you through it. And so that's going to be my big project for the year, that I'm going to do it. I'm not going to continue to second guess myself and to doubt myself and to tell myself that, because I was like, what's the point of me doing something that's going to make me happy, that I'm proud of, if I don't, if my sister's not here to share it with, if my family's not there to share it with me, what's the point, And, at the end of the day, those are the ones that matter. And, that was why when I ended 2019, it was one of the worst years of my life, and I can't continue to be in that mindset. So my New Year's resolution is to not let me be my own worst enemy, and to keep pushing myself and to do better and to achieve the goals that I want to achieve. So thank you everyone for watching this Q&A. From now on, I'm going to release my Q&As at the end of the month, so that way everything that is asked has relevance to what happened within that month itself. So I will see you again for another Q&A at the end of February. So until next time everyone, please, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay too. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Make sure you click that little bell, that way you get all the notifications. Make sure if you've been subscribed for a while, make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing everyone, or not everyone, but unsubscribing people. And until next time, have a great rest of your day, and may the force be with you, because we are really, really, really going to need it. Bye everyone.